so how long do you got to live? They used to ask me after I had cancer. And I said, I have no idea. I said, but I don't care. I don't have control over that. When you say, oh, I got 2 years to live, you stop trying. You stop fighting. I'm not giving up. I'm fighting like hell, to tell you the truth, all the way through.
Who am I here with today?
Rick Mills, Big Rick.
How old are you?
7 going on 68.
Had to think about that for a bit.
Yeah, because I lie all the time, say I'm younger.
Oh.
So I tell the truth this time.
What does it feel like to be 67 years old?
You know, I got more years behind me than ahead of me, but I'm trying to make the best out of all the years that I have left. There's no number. Like I haven't thought I got 30 years or 20 or 10, right? I don't have control over that. So I'm just going to enjoy my life while I'm here and do things I want to do now. And don't sweat the small stuff.
Yes.
Right? Seriously. Don't sweat the small stuff. Let stuff go. Doesn't matter in the big picture. Go out, be happy, and enjoy now because you never know, right? You never know. And that's not just death, but disease, whatever, right? And things happen in families, and you probably understand that. You're going along hunky-dory, like, all of a sudden, uh-oh.
It just hits you out of nowhere.
Yeah. And it hit me. I was going along, okay, and I didn't realize I had anything. And then I'm told I have a blood disorder and it's cancer. It's called multiple myeloma. And yeah,
Very sorry.
well, you know what? It's okay. You don't have to be sore. It is what it is. I carry on that way. The doctor says, usually you only have 3 years to live after a diagnosis. And at first I was devastated, right? I was like, what the heck? I got a family, I got friends, and I don't want to go. I don't want to die, right? So anyways, I went home. A couple of days I did my weeping and crying and yelling and hollering and feeling bad for myself. And I have a past of religion and of prayer, but I'm not, I'm not a Bible thumper, so to speak, right? But I do have a belief in the Holy Spirit. But anyway, so I went to bed that night, and there was so much pressure on me, man. My shoulders, because I was already missing my family, and I wasn't gone anywhere. But that message that you got cancer,
it hits you all over the place.
Like a train. Your family gets hurt too. I was, very upset. I had weight on my shoulders, and I felt terrible. And I said, Lord, I'm not very good at running my own life, and I'm not. I said, would you come into my life, Lord, and please take over my life for me? Because I can't do it by myself, and I need you. I need your help. I went to sleep, and in the morning when I woke up, you wouldn't believe, man. I'm telling you, the Lord shone down on me. I woke up like this. Like, I was startled. It was like, I didn't feel no pressure. I didn't feel like hurt. I felt, okay, we got this. You know what?
You picked yourself back up.
Yeah, but I did it for myself, but I did it for my family too. I never complained about pain or any of those things. I didn't want to share that with them because I didn't want them to have to deal with it. As long as they see me and I was fine, the family was fine. But if I showed any pain or any anguish or any of that other stuff, my whole family was then devastated. I did my best, man. Some people say I'm a real strong person, and I've got multiple myeloma. I have heart disease, kidney disease. I now have peripheral artery disease, right? And the doctor said to me just the other day, said, you got 60% you can't feel. And he said, I won't operate, like take your veins out and fix that. He said, but I can cut your leg off in 35 minutes. Really? Just like that.
You turned it down.
I turned it down. And also, I had a stroke a month ago. I guess almost 2 months ago now. And, I was angry. I was really angry because, I thought I was done with, I thought, okay, you got this cancer, you got all these other things. Okay, buck up, you're fine, pull your socks up, And I got mad. And I said, what the, why? I didn't say, Lord, but, he knows. He knew that I was upset. He said, Rick, I'm not going to give you anything you can't handle. It is what it is. You continue your life, right? I want you to go out and speak to people. Prayer is huge. I'm serious. When you're in a bad situation or you're like this, prayer has saved me. Honestly, prayer has saved me. I guess there's a plan for me, right? the plan. And the Lord did talk to me. He said, your job, Rick, is to go out and to, he said, even just be smiling at people, talk to people. If people need you, he said, talk to them, help them along, give them that hope. Because that's all we have. If you got cancer, is hope. I get out, and you know what? The Lord puts people here. What did he do just now? He brought you here. Honestly, he brought you and you. He brings people to me, and we end up talking about positivity. Those kinds of things. And prayer, whether or not you believe or not in God, it's not hard to talk to God. You don't have to get down on your knees and all that stuff. You could talk to him right here. Yeah, it's not in a church. It's not all in a church and the pews. It's about out here. Jesus was out and about, right? Seeing people, talking to the people. I mean, I'm not Jesus or God or anything. I know that. But the Lord's brought people to me daily that need a smile or a boost up. There's some street people that I see, I talk to, I know, and I try to give them a boost up, right? I don't usually bring up Christianity at first, right? Because it scares people off sometimes. But I bring up the higher power. If it's the higher power for them to start, right? It's because I don't believe in anything. Well, that's really sad, because who are you going to go to in a time of, like now, you're homeless, you're on drugs, right? Whatever else is going on in your life. Who helps you? Who brings some sort of happiness to you? I was being interviewed at the hospital. I was going to be on TV or in the newspaper. I've been on quite a bit. But anyways, they asked me, what would you do different, Rick? And I said, about what? About having cancer. I said, I wouldn't do anything different. It is what it is. I said, it's opened my mind.
How does your family cope with it and your friends?
I have a few friends I go have coffee with, but if they get too negative, I won't hang out. Because I don't like to be negative. I like to be positive.
Yes.
And, so the doctor told me I had this. I knew that because my feet are so bad. But, the way he talked, it was like, whatever. I got to lop your leg off in 35 minutes. Like, yeah, you talk about how gross and rude that guy is.
How do you deal with all the negativity, especially in the time we're living in right now?
Anything you have no control over, forget it. This thing with Trump and the U.S., can we do anything personally about it? No. But why keep watching it or listening to it? Got to get rid of it. Enjoy everything in life now. It's made me a better person. It really did. Since I was praying and getting help, I said, I wouldn't do anything different. I'm a happier, more loving person now. I'm not as angry. Before, I was very aggressive. Even as a 60-year-old or with a very aggressive person, like I could throw down at 60 years old. I grew up in a real tough home. My dad was an alcoholic, and he fought all the time. And so he expected the family to be tough. And I was that middle child, so I was the protector of the family.
Yes.
Right? And he encouraged. If something happened, he said, if you lost, you got in trouble. He said, was there a stick around? Was there a brick? He said, hit him in the head with it. Talking in the 60s, right?
What caused you to be such an aggressive, hard-headed individual?
My father. To learn behavior. I smoked in the house when I was 10, and he was okay with that. And I drank. He'd give me beer, drink, at 11 years old, I was drinking beer. I drove the car at 13 around. I took him around.
What's your message to the youth of today? Looking back, the differences from back in your day to now.
Technology has really, really amped up behavior in teens, especially. There's a lot of crap on there that they can look up and possibly get into. But what I tell kids usually is, you're young, enjoy being a kid. Don't try to grow up so fast. Enjoy being that kid. Don't hurt other people. And you want to get somewhere in life, that's good, but don't be walking on any people, walking over people to get there. And remember to be a good person, right? Because it doesn't cost you nothing to smile at somebody. You'll never, ever catch me saying negative stuff out of my mouth.
What are your biggest regrets in life?
That's a good question. You know what? Life is what it is. People, I say, so how long do you got to live? They usst to ask me after I had cancer. And I said, I have no idea. I said, but I don't care. I don't have control over that. I can do the medical stuff and do all the stuff I'm told to do that way. What happens when you say, oh, I got 2 years to live or something, is you stop trying. You stop fighting. I'm not giving up. I'm fighting like hell, to tell you the truth, all the way through. But not in a bad way. I want to be happy too. I've chose to be positive. I chose to be happy. I chose to be in love with my wife even more than I was before.
Yes.
It's weird because I turned it all over. It's like my wife is my partner, my best friend, and this is not just talk. It's true.
She's your everything.
She's my everything. In fact, she's thankful because I stopped her worrying about Trump and all these things on TV. I say, honey, don't watch them, number one. But plus, we can't do anything. They have it just plastered on TV all the time.
Yeah.
If you get caught up in he's going to take over Canada and he's going to do this.
You get too brainwashed.
Yeah, and you don't have the control over that anyway. We can't do nothing about that. We got to live our lives. Try to be as best person you can be, honestly.
When people ask you how long you have to live, how does that make you feel?
Well, it used to be like, get lost, right? But it's like I tell them, I say, it doesn't matter. I don't have no control over that. And I'm just living my life. I'm not going to stop to think, my God, no, I only got 3 years. Like they told me, this disease, you got 3 years to live. And, I bought into that at first. But then I talked to the Lord and it's like, he basically said, no, I have a job for you. And and I've done it. I do it daily. A girl on the train the other day, she was parenting her 11-year-old brother because her mother was sick and her father was a drug addict. And we talked. And I talked about prayer for her, that, use the Lord to give you strength.
How do you cope with, the death of parents and not having them around you anymore?
You know what? It's lonesome at times, right? When you don't have them at first. As time goes, it heals. Yeah. And I think when my mom first passed away, we had communicated before she died that if she got to heaven, she was going to ring bells for me to let me know. I was like, okay. And about 2 o'clock in the morning, the phone started ringing. So I picked up the phone. Hello? Nothing. So I hung up the phone and I said, Mom, is that you? I said, Mom, call back tomorrow at 2 in the afternoon. I said, we're up then. The next day at 2 o'clock, the phone rang and I couldn't hear nobody. There was nobody there. But I called to find out who's calling the number. And it said, this phone call has no phone number. I bet you it was my mom. I talked to her after she died.
To anyone out there that feels lost, what advice do you have for them?
Well, it's pretty lonely when you don't have a higher power, a God that you pray to. It doesn't have to be just my God. It could be your God. It could be your higher power to draw strength from. Because if you're by yourself, it's sad because you don't have that people to help you up, right? And trying to stay positive, or even if you're alone and you're sad, and hope that things are going to be better. You better enjoy your life now because you never know, right? And life is very short. And if you don't live your life now and you sit in the couch and you're in trouble. Yeah, you're in trouble.
100%.
You got to get motivated.
How long have you been married?
I've been married 3 times, 26 years now. So my third one. So
Third and your last.
the last. Definitely the last. Unless she doesn't want, but I don't get that message from her. I used to be a truck driver,
Yes.
transport, and that didn't work out for 2 of them. Enough said about that. And, they were lonely, the 2 of them. I think it was a mutual thing, right? You have to have mutual attraction. Yes. But when you're younger, you're pretty well thinking a lot about sex, right? And who's hot and who's not and stuff, right? Just to be truthful, I mean, that's life. I think when you get older, like in your 40s, I mean, that's still important, but not like it used to be, right? You forgive the other one for having an adult body, right? And whatever, right? You're looking to the personality, right? How nice is that person? They look at you in the eye and they get closer to you, right? While you're talking, and they care about what you're talking about. So, and my wife, Lynette, she was like that. Very good person. In our building, she's known as an angel. She helps everybody, which goes on good with me. We make meals and give away stuff to people in the building, and
What's your secret to a long-lasting marriage?
respect of each other. You know, if you have issues, they have issues too, right? So, you got to be happy with each other, and you got to be able to communicate. Seriously, communicate.
Communication's key.
Big time. And you're married, so you know that, and it's not just, yeah, okay, I'll sit down, but you're not listening. It's, let's talk. You're hurt. Let's talk about, because if you get too frustrated, what happens is you start getting resentment. And when you got resentment,
You blow up.
it gets worse and worse. If you're happy, it is so much better for your relationship.
What's the worst financial decision you've ever made in your life?
Financial. Probably not buying property when I was young, because I'd be rich now, having all the property the way they're selling and that. Yeah. Money-wise, that would be it.